Is your car insurance company setting you up to have your claim denied should you get in an accident?
Well, that's exactly what one company is accused of anyway. Sergio Flores from NBC7 and Telemundo 20 Responds is here to show us which one and why you should double check your policy.
Yeah, Catherine and Monica, you may remember how back in October we brought you the story of a man who accuses National General Insurance Company of unfairly denying his claim by using a loophole in the digital application. And we later found out he's not the only one, as hundreds more are complaining about the same thing.
These are pictures of a U-turn gone wrong. Andy Wynn from San Diego knocked down a light pole that took out a chunk of his car and set off the airbags.
And it hurts, and it really disorients you. The adrenaline kicks in, you get out of the car.
Andy took these pictures and called his insurance company, National General. An adjuster will later call for the details of the crash, but then the questions got strange, he says.
Who else lives in your home? And she asked for the birth dates. And I provided it, like I provided the first time to my broker.
He answered that he lived with his parents, 20-year-old brother, and 14-year-old sister. He thought his insurance company would for sure cover the $12,000 in damages he caused to the city. But a couple of weeks later, he was sent this rescission notice. He says he then realized why the adjuster asked who else lived at home.
The insured failed to disclose all drivers and or household members on the policy.
You read that for the first time. How do you feel?
I was mad. I was like, you kidding? I was mad. I thought they stabbed me in the back.
What happened to Andy is similar to what happened to Sergio Preciado when he crashed getting off the 805 in San Diego. He called NBC7 Response after National General Insurance also denied his claim and rescinded his policy because he didn't disclose that his 20-year-old son lived at home. He was left with a $5,000 bill. Preciado says he doesn't understand what his son had to do with the claim. He didn't have a license, he wasn't driving, and wasn't even in the car when he crashed. Both Sergio and Andy got back the premiums they paid, but it was far from enough to cover the cost of their crashes.
They always have this ace in the hole in their back pocket that they could pull out at the end of the day to potentially get them out of a claim.
Attorney Justin King represents Andy and close to 300 other drivers in a lawsuit he filed against National General, accusing them of unfairly denying claims. He is currently trying to certify it as a class action lawsuit. The complaint claims there are only 2 places in the digital application where household members are brought up. The first one is here, under the driver's tab.
That is deceiving because to a layperson going through the digital application with their broker, they're going to be asked, who are your drivers of your vehicle? Because that's what the page says.
The second place is here, under the insured's information. According to the lawsuit, it populates the page with names associated with an address.
It's not enough because those systems don't always populate somebody that may live in the house.
And King says this page doesn't even give the option to add someone who may have been missed. And this screenshot shows the page that asks whether all household members over the age of 14 have been disclosed. If you answer no, the application process simply stops, instead of allowing you to add the information, says the National General Director of Product Management in a recorded deposition.
Is there another screen that pops up or any instruction or navigation tool available to the broker to move to a screen where he can list the household members?
No, sir.
It doesn't take you to some page to add them. It just won't underwrite the policy. So it has to be answered with a yes, and they pre-mark the answer with a yes. They don't pre-mark very many other answers in the digital application.
A National General adjuster who was also deposed testified that she and her colleagues were trained to find out who lives at home when working a claim, regardless of the facts of the claim.
I just asked them, are there any household members over the age of 14 that whom you haven't disclosed in the policy as drivers or excluded drivers, because that is in their application when they purchase insurance.
And they asked them to seek this information so that they can then rescind the policy and say, you didn't disclose that you lived with these household members back when you applied for the policy.
To be clear, you're not saying that there's a flaw in the system. You're saying that this is intentionally done.
I believe it's intentionally done. I believe these are smart people at these corporations. They've set up this digital application. They've set up this process. There's lots of money at stake.
We reached out to National General Insurance and its parent company, Allstate Insurance, multiple times, but never got a response. In court filings, they issued a general denial of all allegations in the lawsuit.
Have just a little bit of shame. Like, how are you doing this?
Marisol Alvarez is a licensed insurance broker who owned her own company and an expert witness in King's lawsuit. She says National General came onto her radar several years ago as a quality, low-cost option for her clients.
It was great.
Okay.
Until we started having claims.
Marisol says she and other brokers initially took the brunt of the policyholders' anger after they were denied coverage. She recalled scrambling to find answers.
After a while, it started becoming clear about this 14-year-old household member clause, which for my 20 years, I hadn't seen anything like it.
And that's because, she says, the industry standard had always been naming 16-year-olds who might be driving an applicant's vehicle. She adds, no other company she's ever worked with denied coverage to her clients because of someone living at home who wasn't even in the car.
You rated the risk based on the driver and the vehicle. So what is the problem? Who are you that you need to know who lives where? You're not insuring the whole household.
The broker says National General never informed her or her team of these possibilities for coverage denial.
And I spoke with marketing reps on various occasions, and they never said, be careful, because if that happens, we're not going to pay any claims.
We shared the lawsuit with the California Department of Insurance to get their thoughts on the allegations. They told us, quote, CDI is not a party to the lawsuit, and we cannot comment on the allegations made in the filing. To protect consumer confidentiality, we also cannot comment on consumer complaints.
They're just trying to not cover me.
Andy says this strategy by National General puts a stain on the auto insurance industry as a whole.
It's pretty cutthroat, to be honest, because people get insurance to make sure they're protected.
All right, so now remember, household members means anyone living in your home, not just family members. It could be roommates, families from whom you rent a room, and children who turned 14 after the policy started. So the best advice to you is to check your policy or check in with your agent to make sure everyone is listed.
We're just sitting here shaking our heads because it makes no sense, just as the people you interviewed said, why people would need to know the 14-year-old lives there.
Right, and sometimes people turn 14 during the policy, and they don't think about adding them.
Of course.
And then next thing you know, they're in violation, you could say, of the agreement.
Well, we know you'll stay on top of this and see what happens with it. Thank you.
Super tricky. Thank you. If you have a story or issue you want our response team to know about, go to our website at NBC7.com/response. There's a form there that you can fill out to get in touch with us.